Hello and welcome to Capacity TV. I'm joined today by Tesh Kapadia of Axino Solutions. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
Last year the systems and solutions of Ascom became Axino Solutions. How did that come about and what are the benefits for the customers?
Good question. What we looked at is Ascom as a company announced a movement or a focus within the healthcare business. And we had a significant business in the telecom sector. So we decided to divest the technology business from the healthcare business. And that's why Axino came about. And it actually helps us focus in on a business that we've done fairly well in the last little while and take a lot of resources and technologies and look at the resources and technologies that we otherwise wouldn't have given the overall structure of the company.
So you've taken on Ascom's products in that division.
Mm-hmm.
How is that going and how are you planning to develop that?
Well, it's going really, really well. What's happened is that we've taken not only the technologies that we've historically had, we've actually invested in a number of new technologies. And given that, I think that's one thing that's very, very important about the whole Axino culture now is that we were divested from a larger company. We're privately held right now, but what's important is that we're not VC funded. We're actually privately held with people who are looking at the long-term strategic goals of the company and that of the customer. So our focus has always been on the customer, not necessarily the technology. But now, once you've got that, the technology plays that we're looking at are not taking yesterday's technologies and make them work, or the legacy, in this legacy business. What I like to say normally is that we've got legacy problems that we've actually fixed with legacy solutions. So this is the first time we've been given the ability and the capital and the resources to go out and say, listen, I'm going to take a look at these problems, but with tomorrow's technologies. And that's exciting. That's what we find Axino exciting. And given that we don't have to adhere to a quarterly number because some VC owns us, that makes it even better.
And how are you helping carriers face tightening margins and pressures on cost within the marketplace?
This, the business model of wholesale, again, it's a traditional business model. So some of the things that we're sort of looking at is, the retail voice is still the highest margin business every telco is actually participating in. If you take the wholesale game, which again, you've got the shrinking margins and so on, there's got to be a ways, if you think about it, if retail voice is the highest margin business, as a wholesale operator, my job on the international side of the house is to understand how other operators trade their retail voice and how do I get a piece of their retail voice. So let me give you one example. So if we take a look at fraud management, or if we take a look at revenue assurance and so on, if one operator was talking to another operator, and if I were to come to you, and let's say you were an operator out in the international market, and I say, you know what, I can take your retail traffic, your enterprise traffic, and your wholesale traffic, and I can dip into the systems that you have there, and since I'm taking all your traffic, your international traffic out, let me revenue assure all that traffic up front to you so that you know that every call that came from your switching fabric is revenue assured from your retail line of business, from your wholesale line of business, from your enterprise side of line of business, and so that you know that every dollar that you've actually paid me, you've actually collected something hopefully more than that on the inbound side. Now, as an operator, you could say, hey, listen, I've got a third party revenue insuring my traffic end to end. This is something I'd have to do, spend resources on and so on, and all I have to do is play a little bit of a premium on that. Now, here's the thing, the traffic starts to flow to me, I keep a revenue stream that's actually stable, and on top of that, the carrier on the other side has a great value proposition that they can sort of bank on and they don't have to do. That's how you change wholesale, I believe, type thing. And when you look at that, OSSs and BSSs are now a strategic weapon, not something that's sort of in the back office that we sort of just sit there and hopefully everything's correct at the end of the month.
What are your thoughts on disruption within the BSS, OSS world?
This is something near and dear to my heart, and I'll tell you a little story. I had a discussion with a young fella, he had to be 20-something. He was a professional hockey player one time in his life. He managed a little bit of a hedge fund, wrote a financial algorithm that did very, very well, and an investment bank wanted to buy it, and just fantastic kid. He had done more in his 26 years of life than I probably did in my entire, I don't want to say. But interesting enough, I asked him, did you sell out your algorithm? And he said, yeah, they offered me a lot of money. And But no, I didn't. And I said, why? And he goes, well, I really want to tick some people off. And I said, so tell me what you want to do. And he says, listen, I'm gonna put an app on a phone where everyone can have mutual funds that they can pick from me, and you can take the money out and you can put the money in, and I don't care if it's $5, I don't care if it's $1,000, I don't care if it's $1 million. And I want to actually introduce this to everybody so they can actually see their money go up and down every single day based on different portfolios, and they can change portfolios whenever you would like. Now think about how this turns things on its head when we actually go in and we buy mutual funds, and it has to be in the fund for 10 years or whatever it may be, and if you take it out right away, there's a fee and stuff. He simplified it all. Now what he wants to do is disrupt the market that he's in, the banking market, which changes everything. When I take a look at the wholesale market and the legacy market, we see that changes can be made the same way. One of the unique changes that Axino has done is that we've got the ability, let's say the bilateral world, which is a traditional world, we've got the ability to put portals in front of our customer. You know, if you're a wholesale operator, we'll put a portal there for you, and all your vendors and so on come in through that portal, and all the workflow is tracked. All the nitty-gritty stuff that everyone's been spending all this time doing, and they go to forums and they figure all this stuff out and they want to standardize on forums, fantastic. But you don't really need to do it if you turn it up on its head and say, listen, we'll just make whatever business models in your back office, we'll make it easier to trade with your partners type thing. But I think it's thinking like that where you can disrupt the market that we're in, makes the next gen of OSS, BSS interesting. Again, looking at tomorrow's technologies to solve yesterday's problems.
Tesh, thank you very much for joining us today on Capacity TV.
Thank you for having me.